I'm here in Waterstones picking out some of my favourite books from when I was growing up and some of my favourites now. Dreama Sadler's Wells by Lorna Hill, and it's part of the Veronica at the Wells series. So you start off with Veronica dreaming of going to ballet school, and then she ends up as a prima ballerina. Noel Streatfeild was always one of my favourites. Ballet Shoes was probably my most favourite book. And I based little elements of Threads, my first book, on it, in terms of three girls in London trying to make their way in the world, who were all creative in different ways. White Boots was a skating one. She always wrote about girls who were really good at something and had to work really hard at it and wanted to do it professionally later. And of course I wanted to be a ballet dancer, I wanted to be a skater, I wanted to be a tennis player, all of the things she wrote about. Books that I lost myself in over and over again were Nancy Drew's. I don't know how many I read. Nancy Drew is a teenage girl growing up in America who has a convertible. So of course you want to be Nancy Drew. And she's really clever, her dad's a lawyer. They have an incredible sense of justice, which I did and still do have. And she went off and she had all these fantastic adventures and she caught bad guys. So she was kind of perfect. And I don't know how many of these I read, but if one came out, oh, I've just noticed this one is a graphic novel. I might have to buy this one too. It's glorious. I remember the first time I walked into a Waterstones, and it was 2009, and I saw my book on a bookshelf for the very first time, and it was a dream that I'd had since I was 12. So it was incredibly special, and I had to take a picture and it all looked very odd, but I still remember that moment, and I'm kind of more used to it now, but still every time I see them on a table or a bookshelf, it's a special thing. I Captured the Castle was actually recommended to me after I'd written Threads. It's glorious. I'm going to read the first line because it is one of my favourite first lines. I write this sitting in the kitchen sink. Literally, I read that line, I thought I have got to read this book. And it's about a family growing up in a ruined castle and a dad who can't write. And a lot of the atmosphere of this book has gone into love song. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I haven't read a lot of sci-fi, and frankly I wish I had, because what I've read I've absolutely loved. What I adore though is a funny book, and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series is one of the funniest series of books that anyone can read. I can't begin to tell you how much I love them. They're actually, come to think of it, they're in love song, because Nina in Love Song reads a lot and she refers to books all the time, and she has to wear an old dressing gown at one stage because it's the only thing that she's got to wear, and she describes herself as looking like Arthur Dent in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And to understand that reference, then you need to read this book, and you should read it anyway because it's amazing. I read every Jane Austen that there was. Pride and Prejudice is still my favourite, although I love Persuasion too very much. And I had Pride and Prejudice in my mind when I was writing Love Song, and one of my writer friends very cleverly noticed that. Again, this is a funny book. The irony is wonderful. If I had to just pick one author off a shelf and know that I was going to love her books, it would be Jane Austen. You can discover reading at any stage of your life, and whenever you discover it, that's fine. But when you discover reading, first of all, it gives you an escape from your real life, and every kid's life these days is stressful. So I think having that escape is important. And the biggest thing of all is it gives you empathy with other characters. And we've been talking about windows on the world with my writer friends recently. You get to live in someone else's skin. You get to understand how they think. And that makes you better at dealing with your friendships. It makes you better in job interviews later on. It will just help you all through your life. So it's really important, and it's also great fun.